Hello and thanks so much for joining us. This is a comprehensive news package coming to you live from our news desk. I am Bukola Agbakiso. On the news, Ogun government opens oxygen therapy center to curtail new wave of COVID-19. 20,000 Ogun youth benefit from federal government special works program. Nigeria capital market shows average growth in 2020 in the face of global pandemic. U.S. House of Representatives move to invoke 25th Amendment to impeach Trump. Our flag does not fly because the wind moves it. It flies with the last breath of each soldier who died protecting it.
And coming up on the sports segment of the news, Trump National Golf Course stripped of 2022 USPGA Championship. This and many more when I return on the sports segment of the news later. My name, Hakeem Akitunde. You're welcome.
Thanks so much for joining us once again. Now the news in full. 20,000 youth in Ogun State have benefited from the federal government extended special public works program aimed at addressing the high rate of unemployment and rising insecurity in some parts of the country. The Minister of Mines and Steel Development, architect Olamilekun Adegbite, who made this known during the flag-off exercise at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta, said the program was designed to employ 1,000 persons in each local government areas across the Federation. Architect Adegbite said that the initiative was an outcome of the pilot program in the rural areas approved by President Muhammadu Buhari and implemented by the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, in early 2020, adding that the pilot scheme was initially implemented in 8 states of the Federation to evaluate its impact on addressing high rates of unemployment.
For this country, for the people, and further, what is the best way that we can mitigate the effects of this COVID and the lockdown? And series of programs were put in place. This is just one of the programs that was put in place to mitigate the effects of the pandemic. There are so many palliatives that have been done, even within my own ministry.
Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun appreciated the federal government of Nigeria, led by President Muhammadu Buhari, for initiating the extended special public works program, particularly its flag-off in Ogun State, saying it will go a long way in alleviating poverty and provide meaningful livelihood for beneficiaries. Represented by his deputy, Engineer Naimot Salako Ojedele, Governor Abiodun noted that his administration had put in place various provisions for job creation in its public works sector by partnering with individuals and corporate organizations such as the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, to train the teeming youth in the state to be gainfully self-dependent and employed. He added that Ogun State government would continue to augment all efforts of government at the center in ensuring improved standard of living for the citizenry as envisioned in its Ishaya Matra.
This program complements our own job creation efforts here in Ogun State. And as you all know, youth employment is a very important part of the agenda of His Excellency Prince Dapo, and this forms one of the Ishaya developmental pillars of the state. You will recall that in August 2019, His Excellency launched the job portal, and this was an opportunity for us to dimension the unemployment and underemployment problem in Ogun State, and from this to be able to come up with plans and initiatives to help arrest this problem. 20,000 is a small fraction, and we are lucky to have been involved in that. And I commend you to please see this as an opportunity and a stepping stone to many more things.
In his goodwill message, the Akaribo and paramount ruler of Remoland, Oba Babatunde Ajayi, said the exercise will affect the lives of the participants positively, urging them to be good ambassadors of the state. Also speaking, the chairman of the state expanded SPW Senator Olugbenga Obadara, represented by his vice chairman, Dr. Babatunde Ipaye, implored the selected participants to show more commitment, not to be complacent and lazy, but be prompt, efficient, and dutiful throughout the duration of the exercise. Ogun State government has scaled up its preparedness to contain the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, just as it opened an oxygen therapy center to avoid a situation of scarcity of the life-saving consumable. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Kuka, who made this known in Abeokuta, said that the Oxygen Therapy Center, which sits within the Infectious Disease Hospital Iberekodo, Abeokuta, consists of 20 beds of high dependency capacity. Dr. Kuka affirmed that the state and nation at large is in the deep of second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, describing the ineffectivity rate of the new strain as being highly infectious. According to her, the Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, OOUTH, isolation center is at 90% capacity right now, which means that people have to take cognizance of being responsible for their own health.
Resources that we need has been provided by His Excellency. Just recently he's given me the go-ahead to procure oxygen so that we are not in the situation that some states are, where they've run out of oxygen. We've opened our oxygen therapy center, which we have called Iberekodo. We've labeled Iberekodo our oxygen center for people who will need oxygen. So we are responding appropriately to contain and curtail this second wave, but we would, as we always say, so the response and the success of this, our response to COVID-19 has to be a collaborative effort between the government and individuals.
The Commissioner listed OOUTH, Federal Medical Center, Abeokuta, Ikene Isolation Centers as available for the treatment of people who had contracted coronavirus. As part of measures to ensure that residents have access to qualitative and affordable healthcare services, the Ogun State government has inaugurated a technical working group for health financing in the state. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Tomi Kuka, during the inauguration at a stakeholders workshop on sustainable financing for health organized by the Ogun State Health Insurance Agency in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and USAID TB Loan 3 projects in Abeokuta, said every single citizen of the state should have access to qualitative health care without having to pay out of pocket. Dr. Kuka said that despite the setbacks that have hindered the takeoff of universal health coverage in the state over the years, the present administration is prepared to ensure that people living in the rural areas get affordable basic health care through its health insurance scheme. The Commissioner said it was important for all stakeholders to appraise the current state of health financing in Ogun State, expressing optimism that the newly inaugurated technical working group would fashion out of-the-box ways of sustainable health financing for the benefit of all.
Why universal health coverage? In 2015, obviously, when they set the SDGs, all United Nations, member nations actually agreed that they have to achieve universal coverage by the year 2030. And Nigeria is no exception. We signed on to that. And a lot of states in Nigeria have actually progressed much further on this journey than where we are. We seem to be, lagging behind, and we seem to be stuck. However, we're here today to actually get this technical working group together so that we can move this train forward.
Welcome address, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Dr. Adesonya Ayinde, urged all stakeholders to scale up advocacy to government and labor as a means of ensuring that universal health coverage comes to fruition in Ogun State. On his part, Project Director, TB Loan 3 Project, Dr. Gafar Alawode, expressed delight that Ogun State has put in place a technical working group for health financing, saying this will put the state in the right trajectory of universal health coverage. From health, we move on to other stories. Members of the public have been enjoined to enroll with the Ogun State Bureau of Information Technology for free tutoring classes on cybersecurity, internet surfing, and digital literacy. Special Assistant to the Governor on ICT Matters, Olakunle Akimbola, while speaking with our reporter, Ife Shulade, also disclosed that more of such free courses will be open to members of the public as a way of improving the knowledge of students at all levels, especially during this COVID-19, is reports.
In line with the Ogun State Government's public-private partnership vision, Special Assistant to the Governor on ICT Matters, Olakunle Akimbola, has hinted on plans to collaborate with international and local developers within the state to complement trainings and implement more projects in the information and communications technology space. This prompted the move by the State Bureau of Information to enroll applicants for free courses at the Ogun Tech Hub, Kobakwe, Abeokuta.
The focus is to build on the infrastructure. The idea is to roll out fiber and Wi-Fi across all our MDAs and eventually to all local governments in the state so that everybody can really be on the internet. Then we can start talking about some added values on it. So it may take us a while, but we'll get there.
The registration exercise, which was conducted online, has kick-started with training on cybersecurity, internet surfing, and digital literacy, with a capacity of 50 participants for each courses.
I learned about the motherboard, the hard disk, about the software and hardware device, and input and output devices.
We started with the introduction, so you are taking us through the overview of how things are done in cyber and what cyber security is actually. And I know in this time we'll be getting the true picture of what cyber security is.
The Special Assistant to the Governor said officers working with Ogun State ministries, departments and agencies were also tutored on ways of improving their documentation processes through an advanced and digitalized system.
It's a two-pronged project whereby we're going to start using the document management system on ongoing activities within the state and with BIT to start with. And then the archiving, the old files, we're going to bring them, we're going to digitalize them, we're going to scan them and bring them online to have access to those information online. The idea is to then send them back to their respective MDAs where they're going to then start initiating the projects.
Some of the participants acknowledged the training as advantageous to their work output.
This is something that we have been advocating for, and we are glad seeing the government telling us that they are bringing it to us.
Definitely, it will go to enhance our work output and it's like we long overdue. And definitely, all the ministries and agencies in the state are going to benefit from this program.
All intending applicants that are interested in the free courses, we are advised to log on to www.techhub.ogustate.gov.ng for registration. Ife Shuluade, Ogtv News.
Towards ensuring that fairness and justice is served to all parties, the Ogun State Judicial Panel on Police Brutality has visited some of the scenes mentioned by petitioners and respondents before it. There were a series of allegations by petitioners against the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad in the way and manner its officers tortured, harassed, molested and victimized citizens, hence the need for on-site assessment of facilities for proper investigation to unravel truth and get facts on various petitions currently being treated by the panel. Elizabeth Esson gives details.
Speaking with journalists, the chairman, retired Honorable Justice Solomon Olugbemi, who led other panel members, said the need for on-site assessment of the facilities for proper investigation became imperative so as to ascertain and determine the truthfulness of claims of both petitioners and respondents. According to Justice Olugbemi, during the course of giving evidences, several witnesses came before the panel, mentioned the former office of the defunct Special Anti-Robbery Squad, Magbon, now in use by the new outfit SWAT, and Oba Correctional Center, Abeokuta, among others, which informed their visit for proper investigations.
The Oba Correctional Center was mentioned as the place where the runaway police sergeant ran to after shooting and killing a citizen. So we had to visit the place to see for ourselves those places that were described by the officers of the correctional center, to see how the man could have escaped, and we saw everything by ourselves. We have now come to the former SARS office at Magbon, which we gathered is now used by the new SWAT unit of the police. The two IC there, SP Beyoku, took us around, and we saw the facilities there. We saw the cells, and we found only 2 inmates there who were said to have been arrested just yesterday. And we advised him to ensure that the law is abided with in dealing with suspects.
The panel visited the locals in Kwo somewhere in Alagada area of Oba in relation to an alleged extrajudicial killing by a mobile police officer, Sergeant Tunji Ademuyegun, attached to the new Abeokuta Correctional Service, Oba facility, sometimes in 2019, to inspect the security outposts of the Army, mobile police and correctional guards, to gather useful information on how the runaway police sergeants could have successfully escaped. During the visits, 2 eyewitnesses, Alhaji Sulaiman Salisu and Mr. Oluwafemiwa Kehinde Owosa, at the scene where Sergeant Ademuyegun was alleged to have shot late Biola Adeyanju, spoke with the panel, saying the officer shot sporadically after being drunk and the bullets eventually hit the deceased. The chairman reiterated the commitment of the panel on holistic fact findings and thorough investigation into all petitions before the panel, to deliver justice to all without fear or favor, and to make appropriate recommendations to the government. Elizabeth Esun, Ogtv News.
The Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation has held a Thanksgiving service to usher in the new year with admonition from the Special Advisor to the Governor and Managing Director of the corporation, Architect Abiodun Fari Arule, to all present to put God first in everything they do in year 2021. The Thanksgiving service, which featured prayers for the corporation, the state and the governor, was held at Metros Hall, Okeliwu, Abeokuta. Matthew Shiomi completes the report.
Amidst praised worship and total reference before the Creator of heaven and earth, the entire members of staff of Ogun State Property and Investment Corporation, led by the Special Advisor to the Governor and Managing Director of the corporation, Architect Abiodun Fari Arule, ushered in the year 2021 with a Thanksgiving service as they prepare for the task ahead. Architect Arule said the purpose of the special Thanksgiving service was to return all glory to God for his benevolence and faithfulness in the outgone year 2020 and the achievements recorded by the corporation in many of its programs, even as they prepare to do more in 2021.
Whatever we are today is just by His grace. And the only thing God really expects from us is just to keep thanking Him.
Remo, the Assistant Bishop, Methodist Church of Nigeria, Right Reverend Bamidele Ibikule, assured that God has the power to do everything He has promised His people, and what remains for a believer to draw down His blessings is a heart of gratitude. Reverend Ibikule declared that the events of year 2020 cannot affect the fulfillment of God's promise to bless His people, as he praised the management of OPIC, led by the Special Advisor and Managing Director, for starting the new year with God.
Be honest, be committed. Whatever area of duty or assignment you are given to do in the management or in OPIC, please do it with all your heart. Do it conscientiously, knowing fully well
that you are not pleasing men, but you are serving the Lord.
Director of Business Development and Marketing, Mr. Denyide Boye, expressed the joy of all members of staff to welcome the new year with great hope.
As we go out into the year 2021, I pray the Almighty God protect us, guide us, and make us reap more and multiple blessings.
The intercessory prayer for Ogun State and the Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, was led by Pastor Ade Oshilalu, while the Remo Diocesan Bishop, Methodist Church of Nigeria, offered prayers of thanksgiving and blessings for the MD and the entire staff of OPIC. Matthew Showme, Ogtv News.
And still to come in the news, Nigeria Immigration commences investigation into causes of fire outbreak. More news and report after this break. Don't go away. Thanks for joining us in part 2 of the news. Governor Dapo Abiodun of Ogun State has commiserated with Chairman of Premier Lotto, Chief Kesintin Adebutu, popularly known as Baba Ijebu, over the death of his wife, Mrs. Rosemary Da Costa Kesintin Adebutu. This is contained in a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Kunle Shomori, on Monday in Abeokuta. Mrs. Adebutu died on Saturday at St. Nicholas Hospital, Lagos. The governor described her death as a severe blow on everyone and a harder one on her husband, friend, and confidant. The statement quoted the governor as saying that words cannot adequately convey heartfelt sorrow over Mama's death, for she was a kind and beautiful soul who spread love to all who encountered her. The statement said the governor recalled that the late Mrs. Adebutu was a great philanthropist and businesswoman in her own right, not only supported but funded some of the altruistic projects for which her husband's foundation was credited, including award of scholarships, free medical activities to less privileged, building and renovation of school buildings, hospitals, mosques and churches for the masses in her lifetime. The governor, however, urged Chief Kesintin Adebutu and his family members to be consoled by the fact that the deceased selflessly and fervently served God and humanity during her impactful life on earth. While seeking God's intervention for the Adebutus to bear the loss, Governor Abiodun prayed that God should grant our soul eternal rest. Residents of Ifesowapo, Car Wash, Ogtv, Midire, and 3 other neighboring communities in Adaton area of Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, have lamented living in darkness as the transformer that supplies power to them has been vandalized for the 5th consecutive time. The residents, while speaking with Ogtv News during a peaceful rally to Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company Abeokuta office, stated that the vandalization is a recurring decimal. Benga Adekoya's report is presented from this package.
Residents of Ogtv Midire community, Ogtv Midire Alafia, Temidire West, Alugboro, Oke Alafia, and Ifesowapo Car Wash, all in Adaton area of Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, lamenting their ordeal through a peaceful rally to the office of Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, at Leme, Abeokuta. On citing the protesters, the management staff of Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, IBEDC, quickly called for a closed-door meeting with the executive members of all the CDAs, which lasted about 30 minutes. Chairman Joint CDA, More Substations Asheru, Abeokuta, Prince Adegoke Adekunle, said the deliberation was a fruitful one, as IBEDC has agreed to replace the cables and relocate the transformer to a better and secured place.
We had a meeting with the representative of the communities, ably led by me, to the meeting with the management of the IBEDC, and we have resolved, even before asking, IBDC has offered that they will this time around replace the stolen cable, and again that they will look at the possibility of relocating the transformer for a better, safe positioning.
The business manager, Ijim Business Hub, Uluwashogo Ulufayo, said Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company is doing everything humanly possible to curb future occurrence that could deny them access to electricity supply.
The attack on the community is an attack on IBDC, because once you vandalize a transformer, you take our customers out of our business. Invariably, you have taken us out of business. So we've seen that this is the 5th time this is happening. And it's not just restoring the cable that is the lasting solution now. We have to look at where the transformer is located. Is it secure? Is it safe?
Ogtv News visited the site of the transformer to ascertain level of damage, but despite its installation within the premises of Egba High School, the transformer is still prone to regular theft of its components.
The federal government has signed the Memorandum of Understanding on the construction of $1.959 billion Kano Maradi standard gauge railway lines. The Minister of Transportation, Honorable Rotimi Amechi, on Monday signed on behalf of the federal government, while the MD of the construction company signed on behalf of the firm. The new railway corridor, which is to be located in northern Nigeria, will run through 3 states, Kano, Jigawa, and Katsina, and through Niger Territory as far as Maradi. Other cities in Nigeria are Dambata, Kazore, Daura, Mashi, Katsina, and Jibiya. The director of press of the ministry explained that 283.75 kilometer rail line will make great contributions to the local economy and important development to the social sector. Minister of State for Health, Dr. Olorunimbe Mamora, has said the ongoing national identification number enrollment may be suspended over COVID-19 risks. He also urged the National Identity Management Commission to go back to the drawing board and reorder the enrollment process to avoid large crowds at its centers nationwide. Mamora, who is a member of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, said the government has a duty to ensure Nigerians are protected at all times. The minister said the move is to allow government to reorder the whole process in terms of management of the crowd. The technical team of the Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, has commenced an investigation into the cause of the fire outbreak at its headquarters in Abuja, the nation's capital. The fire outbreak, which occurred on Sunday, affected 3 sections of the headquarters building. The Controller General of NIS, Mohammed Babandede, while speaking with journalists in Abuja on Monday, listed the affected sections to include the call center, where about 10,000 calls are received within and outside Nigeria on passport and visa matters. Also affected is the Interpol connectivity, where the service says it has lost connectivity with the airport and 24 locations, the migration information and data analysis system. Babandede added that hard disks have been retrieved by the ICT team. The immigration boss assured Nigerians that the setback will not affect their services, as they are working to ensure that connectivity is restored in about 4 days' time. The Permanent Secretary, Minister of Interior, and representative of the Minister, Shuaib Begori, in his address, said all the systems are backed up and no data was lost. Scores of Nigerians have continued to appeal to the federal government to ameliorate their sufferings on the continuous hardship being encountered on the registration and issuance of national identification number owing to a slow operation of the National Identity Management Commission. Those who spoke with Ogtv News during a visit to the Ogun State headquarters of the commission said the need for government intervention becomes necessary not only for improved service delivery by the commission, but to also meet up with the deadline of 9th January 2021. Peter Falomo completes the report.
Having resumed from a 2-day warning strike embarked upon by workers of the National Identity Management Commission, owing to unfulfilled demands from the federal government, a visit to the Ogun State headquarters of the commission indicates that official activities have started just as many applicants converged on the premises of the NIMC's Okemuson office in Abeokuta for registration. Those who spoke with Ogtv News expressed displeasure on poor service delivery of the officials, claiming they have suffered untold hardship in accessing the much-needed national identification number.
Actually, it's not really organized. This is not how they do something. When we want to do something as a Nigerian, we're supposed to make sure we do it proper. We support. No, God cannot be job is suffering people. Our job is suffering here. I've been here more than 2 hours, and nothing. Look at how I'm sweating right here, and I consider myself, and I don't want to overlap. So I follow the rule.
A lot of people are here, and I heard that in like over 2 hours, they've called about 50 people in, and they've not attended to up to 20 people.
However, the Ogun State coordinator of the commission, Mr. Tayo Adeniyi Olatunde, in his response to the applicants' claims, said, beyond having few equipment to work with, most of the applicants failed to follow instructions on appointments given them.
We have a crowd about 700 plus this morning. We schedule them. Even last week, Wednesday, we have over 900. We are doing booking enrollment system now. So if you come, if you check our website, you can come to our office between 9 and 1 o'clock for the booking. They will book you, they will give you a date, then you come and enroll.
He gave details of other registration centers as against visiting unapproved agents in cutting corners.
This is not the only place that we are working. We have about 24 centers across the state, including the state offices. We have our presence in 18 local government. I'm telling you now, we have 5 special centers working.
Ogun State Director of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Shola Babalola, who was at the office of NIMC, said his agency is making collaborative efforts with the Commission towards sensitizing the people on how best to meet their demands.
What we are doing all over the state is that we are liaising with them, going to these centers, sensitizing them, enlightening them on what they can do. See, this thing must be done.
It is, however, expected that the leadership of the country will come up with easier method for several applicants towards ameliorating the challenges being experienced for those that are yet to receive their national identification number. Peter Falomo, Ogtv News.
The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board says it will work with security agencies to prosecute any institution or candidate found breaching its admissions code of operations. The board on Monday in Abuja said that henceforth, stringent measures including prosecution will be taken against erring candidates or institution once a prima facie case has been established against them. The decision, the board explained, is part of its resolution after the management meeting on the imperative of reading the admission process of unwholesome practices. JAMS Registrar Professor Isha Kuloyede said that although the central admission process system had made the admission process transparent, fair and equitable, some stakeholders were however working hard to circumvent the system. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has suspended the ongoing screening of applicants for the recruitment due to the second wave of COVID-19 pandemic. NDLEA spokesman, Deputy Commander of Narcotics, Jonah Achema, disclosed this in a statement on Monday in Abuja. Achema said that the screening suspension was based on strict compliance with the directive of the Minister of Justice, Malam Abubakar Malami San. NDLEA had on January 8 released the list of shortlisted candidates. The candidates, numbering 5,000, were due to appear at the agency's Academy Citadel Counter-Narcotics Nigeria JOS for screening and documentation between January 10 and January 23rd. According to Achema, the minister ordered the suspension of the exercise given the current and alarming second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic across the country. The agency is prepared to seek advice from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on the public health implications of such an exercise, especially as it relates to the adequacy and possibility of strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols, it stated. A chief magistrate court sitting in Abuja has granted bail to Sahara Reporter publisher Omoyele Sowore in the sum of 20 million naira. 4 other activists who were arrested with Sowore on New Year's Eve in Abuja for holding a protest against bad governance were also granted bail in the sum of 1 million naira each. Sowore and Juwon Sanyaolu, Peter Williams, Emmanuel Bodas, and Damilare Adenola are standing trial for alleged unlawful assembly, criminal conspiracy, and inciting public disturbance. Chief Magistrate Mabel Shegun Bello, while ruling on the bail application on Monday, admitted Sowore to bail in the sum of 20 million naira and 2 sureties in like sum. The court also ordered Sowore to remain in Abuja and must physically report to the court registrar every Monday and Friday, pending the hearing and determination of the case against him. The court further ordered that one of the sureties must be a civil servant, not below grade level 12. Sowore, who was earlier declared a prisoner of conscience by Amnesty International in 2019, was detained for several months by the Buhari regime for allegedly calling for a revolution. He was denied bail several times and even rearrested inside the Federal High Court. However, he was released after domestic and international pressures in December 2019. And from Zamfara State, police authorities on the state have announced that a ban has been placed on unauthorized and illegal use of sirens, revolving lights, tinted glasses, unregistered covered, and spy plate numbers in the state. The ban is with immediate effect. This was announced on Monday by the Commissioner of Police in Zamfara State, Abutu Yaro. The Commissioner has therefore directed all area commanders, DPOs, and police tactical units to ensure absolute compliance with the directive and the full enforcement of other traffic regulations. He also instructed officers of the force to arrest and prosecute violators of this order and other traffic regulations. The police boss, in a statement, further stated that any person caught violating this law will be investigated and made to face the full wrath of the law. He urged members of the public to be more law-abiding and cooperate with the police and other relevant security agencies in the effort to eradicate criminal activities in the state. The Akwa Ibom State Police Command said it had arrested one lady, Chidinma Oduma Pascaline, a 7 female youth corps member who allegedly killed a man suspected to be her boyfriend. The command's public relations officer, Odiko Makon, who confirmed the arrest while speaking with reporters on Monday, said the Commissioner of Police, Andrew Amirgene, has ordered a discreet investigation into the matter. He said as soon as the police is done with the investigation, the matter will be charged to court. The police public relations officer explained that the command received a distress call from the control room and immediately dispatched some officers to number 219 Abak Road, where the offense was committed. He said the police officers were able to rescue the lady, who was at the verge of being lynched by an angry mob. On business news, stock market loses 80 billion naira in first trading of 2021. Thanks for joining us on the business segment of the news. The capital market, as the silver lining of the economy, is affected by foreign exchange crisis, hyperinflation, lockdowns, disruptions to economies, and corporate plans. The Nigeria capital markets remained open for business throughout year 2020 and posted several landmarks. Benchmark indices at the Nigerian Stock Exchange showed average full-year return of 50.03% in 2020, equivalent to net capital gain of 6.483 trillion naira. The recent highest return was 42.3% in 2017. The all-share index, the value-based common index, tracks 50.03% above 26,842.07 points recorded as opening index for the year. Federal Inland Revenue Service says it has created 35 additional tax audit units to stem the tide of illicit financial flow out of Nigeria. Executive Chairman of the agency, Mr. Mohammed Nami, who made it known in Abuja on Monday, said it will also improve tax compliance rates. He expressed worry that many rich multinational corporations do not pay the right taxes due from them, let alone pay their taxes voluntarily. A statement from Director Communications Abdullahi Ismaila Ahmad of FIRS also reported NAMI to nonetheless observe that some of them were leading in tax compliance in various sectors. According to him, between 2007 and 2017, Nigeria was reported to have lost over $178 billion through tax evasion by multinationals doing business in the country. Trading activities on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange closed with a loss of 80 billion naira at the end of the first trading week of 2021. The NSE All-Share Index market capitalization depreciated by 0.37% to close the week at 40,120,000.22 and 20.98 trillion naira respectively. However, all other indices finished higher with the exception of NSE Premium, NSE Lotus 11 and NSE Industrial Goods, which depreciated by 2.99%, 1.22% and 2.29%, while NSE ASEM and NSE Growth indices closed flat. A total turnover of 3.39 billion naira shares worth 19.87 billion naira in 26,808 deals were traded last week by investors on the floor of the exchange, in contrast to a total of 1.81 billion shares valued at 25.97 billion naira that exchange ends the previous week in 14.634 deals. The Management of Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria has called on all agencies of the federal government and all stakeholders to join its debt recovery drive to guide against the huge opportunity cost of not recovering its huge total current exposure. The corporation, which in recent past had said its obligations was 5 trillion naira, disclosed that its current exposure stood at 4.4 trillion naira. AMCON in a statement stated that this colossal outstanding, going by the 2021 budget estimate, rivals the entire budget of the 36 states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Currency in circulation rose by 249 billion naira from 2.66 trillion naira as of the end of November to 2.91 trillion naira in December 2020. Data from CBN showed that the CIC rose from a figure of 2.49 trillion naira as of the end of October. The CBN said as a result of its monetary policy actions, the reserve money grew moderately as of end of September 2020. In its third quarter economic report, it stated that on a quarterly basis, reserve money grew by 2.5% to 13.57 trillion naira at the end of September 2020, compared with the growth of 30.4% at the end of June 2020. And that was the business segment of the news. Up next is foreign news on our lineup.